Today, I'm going to be breaking down this framework that has worked so well for me for the last 4 years. I've got more than 300 million impressions on LinkedIn using this framework. It is called Freytag's Pyramid. It was invented by Gustav Freytag in 1863, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can use it to tell stories that convert. It has completely changed my life, and it has also changed the lives of thousands of entrepreneurs that have gone through and used this exact same storytelling framework, and you're going to be able to use it anytime, anywhere for your content and your stories, even in interviews, and it is going to work. It is the simplest way to tell stories that actually get people to take action. So, in 1863, Gustav Freytag created a storytelling framework, and it has lasted the test of time. And the first time I ever did a post on LinkedIn, it got more than 300,000 impressions because I used this framework. So obviously, because I thought it was luck, I tried it again and it worked again. Second time, 500,000 impressions. I'm going to break down Freytag's Pyramid for you so that you can start using it right now. Now, if you're going to be posting on LinkedIn or any other platform, this framework is like what movies are literally built off. Okay. It's so simple to use. And it starts off with an introduction. So down here, it starts off with an intro. And a lot of people that create content online call this the hook. So you see it with videos, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Everyone calls this the hook, the thing that gets people to actually stop and watch the video. People like Mr. Beast do this incredibly well, right? They get you hooked within the first little bit of the story. And you can do the same thing using Freytag's Pyramid. So let's say you're telling a story about how you graduated from university and then started working and now you're a director of a company. That's a story that you can probably start. How most people start that story is like, hi everyone, I'm so excited to announce that I'm now a director of a company and bored, okay? I'm not reading that. You want to start with the hook. 10 years ago, I graduated from university. Today, I have my dream job. And then you hook them in. Now I want to know how you got to your dream job in 10 years. Or you can say, 2 weeks ago, I started my company. Today, we raised $300,000. Instead of going, we're so passionate about the mission that we're on, and just get to the point, start with the hook. Okay, so Freytag's Pyramid starts with a strong hook. And then we go into what we call the rising action. This is the rising action. And the rising action is what I just like to call context. So you've already hooked me in by saying 3 weeks ago, I quit my dream job. Well, I need to know why you quit your dream job. And so you've hooked me there. Now you got to give me some context. I joined this company 8 years ago and I loved it. You know, I started working here. I enjoyed this. I worked in product and I just fell in love with the entire company. And so you start to give this rising action, which is just context around the story. What most people do is they start with the context, but I don't care about the context yet. The hook is what gets me to care about the context. So you go into the context, the rising action, and at the top here is what we call the climax. This is the crux of the story. This is where the hero reveals himself. This is where everything goes wrong. This is it. This is what everyone came for. 8 weeks ago, I quit my dream job. Okay, why did you quit your dream job? Well, it wasn't always a job I wanted to quit. I loved my boss. I enjoyed everything I did. I actually thought I was going to spend the rest of my career there. And so we're going up in the story. But 2 weeks ago, I got a new boss and he started micromanaging us. And all of a sudden I couldn't sleep anymore, not because my life became hell. And in an instant, I knew I needed to quit this job. So you've pulled me in with the hook. You've now given me context. I'm already all the way through the story. I believe you. I'm bought in. I'm sold. You get to the climax, right? And it works the other way too. Last year, I started my company and we almost went bankrupt. This year, we hit $1 million. I hired a CFO and she started to make better decisions for us. And then we hired a CMO and they brought our marketing to the next level and everything was going incredible. And then one day, Kim Kardashian reposted us. And now we're at the climax of the story. Does that make sense? And so we're at the climax of the story. You have the introduction, you have the rising action, you have the climax. And now what most people do is they just keep talking up here. but you have 1,000 days of content to go. You don't have to just keep talking about more and more details about the climax. Tell me what happened. Kim Kardashian reposted your story. Amazing. You met Alex Hormozi. Great. You sat down with Chris Williamson. Incredible. That is the climax of the story. So now all we want to do is we want to go into what we call the falling action. I guess what Freitag calls the falling action. So this is where you start to explain what you took away from it. As soon as Kim reposted our story, we were flooded with leads. We were flooded with sales, and everyone was all hands on deck. And we realized that all of our hard work was starting to pay off. That's the falling action. And then here, this is a very not symmetrical pyramid. But then here, instead of ending on the lesson that you learned, the falling action is the lesson that you learned. But here, what we end with is a takeaway. And a takeaway is the lesson you want the reader to walk away with. This is what you want them to walk away with. 2 years ago, we started our business, and this year we made $1 million. Amazing. You give me the context. Paid marketing didn't work. Nothing else worked. And then one day we started posting on LinkedIn. And when we started posting on LinkedIn, within the first week, we got over 1 million impressions. We're at the climax, and it changed our business forever. We had our 6-figure month for the first time. We're at the climax. And all of the experiments we had run had failed, but this one was the one that worked. And we're so glad that we didn't stop going. That's the falling action. That's the lesson that you learned. So now we want to leave a lesson for the reader. And we leave a 2-part lesson. We go, don't give up on your marketing. It will pay off eventually, right? And we leave a lesson. Here's the whole thing with this lesson. You want to make sure that it's something that when people walk away, when they walk away, they don't care about you. They don't care about what happened here. They care about themselves. I want people to be able to walk away from my posts going, I know how to apply this right now in my current situation. I know how to apply this right now to my current company. I know how to apply this right now to my current life. This lesson, this takeaway, this is for you. This is for them. This is what they remember. So the hook gets them to stop, but it's the takeaway that gets them to come back and buy into your story and stay connected to you and feel a connection with you and your story because you left them with something that they could go into their office today and apply right now. So let's review. You got the hook, you have the rising action, you have the climax, you have the falling action, and you have the takeaway. And this applies, you can use it for any story. And that's why I believe that you can write any story in 8 lines. So we're going to write a story right now in 8 lines, and I'm going to make it up as we go. I'm going to use one of my experiences. Let's start with the hook. In 2014, I was selling hoverboards, which is true. By 2024, my businesses had made over $2 million. Now, this is a great hook because you don't know if I made $2 million selling hoverboards. You know I made $2 million. You know that I've been in business for 10 years, so I'm probably a very resilient person. This is your hook. It's a great hook because now you need the context. So I give you the context. I shut down my hoverboard business in 2015 and I almost gave up on entrepreneurship. I'm not going to sell the whole world. It's so long. So in 2 more lines, you're getting the context. I actually shut down my hoverboard business in 2015 and I almost gave up on entrepreneurship. Well, you can't leave the story now because you know that I made $2 million. So what happened? But in 2020, I made a post on LinkedIn. By the time I woke up, that post had 300,000 impressions. So now you understand that something has changed. This is the climax, right? Something incredible happened there. In the next 3 years, I got 300 million impressions and built 4 businesses. I am so glad I didn't give up in 2015. Now, this is the lesson for me. This is the falling action, okay? So you have the hook, you have the context, the rising action, you have the climax, you have the falling action. And so here is where most people end. I'm so glad I didn't give up in 2015. I don't care that you didn't give up in 2015. What is the lesson for me? And here is where the most important part of the story comes in. This is something that you must learn how to do. You have to end with a takeaway. You must end with something for the reader. So here's what I would say. After that whole story, we want to leave them with a lesson. You can leave with something that's just 1 line. Never give up on your dream. Simple. Or you can leave them with 2 lines. You can say something like, entrepreneurship is a marathon. Just keep going. And as an entrepreneur, I might be logging in one day and I might be about to give up today. I might just be like, you know what, I'm going to shut down my business. And I see this post and I see this lesson, this takeaway, and it gives me the courage to run one more webinar, go talk to one more customer and change my life. This is the most important part of the story outside of the hook. If you have a good hook, you have a good takeaway, you will grow your audience. People will feel like they connect with you. And all you have to do is pick a good visual. So it could be me holding a hoverboard. It could just be me in my office, which I don't have, right? But use a story or use a visual to tell the rest of the story. And that is your 8-line post. So Freight Tax Pyramid is one of the greatest storytelling frameworks. It helps you not just build a brand and tell stories, but also drive leads. So I hope that this has been extremely helpful for you. And if you want to tell more stories that convert, you need to use Freight Tax Pyramid so that you can actually tell stories, get leads, and drive more people to your